Why are we not in a hurry?
Because Dathan's not here yet.
I feel great. A little nervous, but ready to do this.
Not in. I noticed it late yesterday, and I'm just gonna go with it. Have mom get some super glue in it.
When Neil figured out he wouldn't be able to travel to France for the famed 1200K Paris-Brest-Paris, he pitched that we get a group together and do it here locally. In short order, we had 9 intrepid souls looking to challenge themselves. Springfield, Missouri, to the middle of Kansas and back again. What does it take to ride a bicycle over 750 miles in less than 4 days? And did we have what it took? We like to think we are experienced riders, but until you clip into those pedals and start that voyage, it's all just hopes and dreams. You never know what the road will give you. We planned, prepared, and trained together for months. The weekend of the ride seemed far enough away when the process began, but time, as it always does, ran out quickly. Had we done enough? Would we all make it?
What am I about to do?
The first 100 miles flew by in record time, and before we knew it, the heat of the day was setting in. Soon, the good times were over and things got difficult. If you want to be strong, surround yourself with strong people. It was inspirational to watch everyone digging deep to hold on to the strong pace the group was rolling. My favorite part of the day was Fred patrolling the back of the group, offering free pushes on the hills, like literally putting his hand on your back and helping people up the hill. Late in the afternoon is when it all went south for me. Supposedly it was in the 90s, but my Garmin said it was 100. Nausea hit me like a ton of bricks at the Lizard Lips Grill and Deli in Toronto, Kansas, and I left an offering to the god of chunks on the side of the building. Chasing a little extra rest at the hotel, the day went down at a much faster pace than we planned or practiced. Fortunately, everyone made it through day one. Well, everyone except for me. Day one ended like it often does for me. Puking, 211 miles in and 14 hours of riding. This last time I just decided I didn't need any more today. More miles on tap for this morning. I'm not excited about it. Day 2, there were a few less smiles at the starting line. After a late arrival the night before, the 5 a.m. start was moved back an hour, and there was some discussion about riding a more sustainable pace. It started off smoothly, with the exception of a couple of reroutes for gravel roads that meant some time on 2-lane highways that we wouldn't normally choose. Most of the traffic we encountered did their best to avoid us. The most common complaints heard were about the heat and the increasing discomfort that could only be soothed momentarily by lifting yourself out of the saddle or with a handful of fresh chamois cream. There was less conversation on this day as the crew approached the 400-mile mark for the journey, and survival was foremost on our minds. Still dehydrated from day 1, in short order, the heat laid waste to me again. I found it difficult to hold the pace of the group. It was near the halfway point of the trip. I began falling off the back and decided to stop again, as to not hold the group up. I wouldn't be the only one in the back of the truck this evening, though, as one more was shed from the group before they finally made it to the hotel, with 210 miles for the day, 460 miles in the last 39 hours. When they waddled into the hotel, I wondered if anyone would want to continue in the morning. There was still a long way to go. On day 3, the start time was moved back again to 6:30. The 7 that had ridden every mile were up and moving, but their vigor was gone. Jessica had gone home the night before, and Sean had swapped in to ride the tandem with Fred for the remainder of the trip. Having missed so many miles now, the thought of getting back on the bike had lost to the ease of laziness. After 2 days of bonking hard, I decided to spend a little time with the support crew shooting video of the hard work being done that the riders don't get to see. When you're out on the road, you imagine everyone waiting for you, sipping iced tea in the shade, taking naps. But in reality, there's much work to be done. Stops for supplies, refueling, navigation, observing sheep, and searching for good, shady places to stop that fit the needs of the riders took the majority of Dina and Stephanie's free time. We purchased enough to fill a bathtub, but it would hardly be enough for the heat of the coming afternoon.
I said, it tells you right there on the handle, lift the handle and pump. That's all you gotta do, just lift that handle and pump. It's so simple, nobody can figure it out.
I asked the owner of the Cassidy Country Store how many people lived in town, and he told me there were 8 or 9 families. Only the first stop of the day, the riders were still happy to take a little extra time here. We took time to pet the dog, to visit with the locals. The riders were able to enjoy breakfast, cooked to order in the air-conditioned diner/gas station/Friday night bands on the porch outside/only business for miles around, which I was told is the largest utility payer in town. While waiting for the riders to come out, I had the pleasure of listening to the proprietor share about small town living and helping neighbors out. Russ threatened to kidnap the dog. I found myself dreaming of naps on a porch swing while hearing the wind and cicadas sing in the background.
All style.
Despite how much we love each other when it's going well, the trials of the long, hot road and life-sapping heat begin to wear our riders down. Sometimes the weight of it all wears the patience thin. After it's all said and done, we'll love each other again. But in the moment, I just might hate you.
I'm dealing with second chair on the yo-yo. And so I'm just hanging on by a thread.
Bent from heat and exhaustion, Neil asked me to suit up and rejoin the group at the next stop. Surely I could ride 60 miles after watching them suffer through so much. The thought of abandoning my naps in the comfort of the air-conditioned support truck turned my stomach over again. They seemed happy to have me back, though, and I felt slightly less guilty for leaving them. For the group, it was the shortest day of mileage so far at only 190 miles.
I have no idea what's in the gorilla room, but I want to.
Good morning.
We had made it to the final day. There were only 97 miles to the sweet relief of the finish line. Most were in severe discomfort, but they also couldn't wait to get started and finally get home. What would I eat first was occupying most of my thoughts.
Oh yeah, it is.
After crossing the border, we were on familiar roads we've ridden many times. We still had 90 miles to travel, but the smiles were hard to contain as the end was so close we could almost smell the beer. Of course, our return to the Ozarks also meant the hills would become more frequent. We were only a couple of Caseys from home now. 40 miles from home, we ran into a large group of friends from Springfield who'd come to ride with us back to town. The effect on spirits was immediately apparent, as was the strength of their legs as they dropped half our group immediately. But I think Dathan and Eric were still at the front, stealing county lines from their fresh legs. Our friend Kurt met us a few miles from the end to help celebrate. I knew there were only a couple of miles left, but they were passing so slowly, and we seemed to hit every red light. Our families and friends were waiting for us at the end. We were filled with a strange mix of euphoria from finishing and sadness that it was now over. 7 riders had ridden the entire 750 miles in just over 47 hours of riding time, 81 hours total. Now, we drink beer and bask in the perspective shift obtained from pushing yourself to the limit and beyond. Why do we do these things to ourselves? If you have to ask, you'll never understand our answers.
Yeah, I said, we'll take credit card. I said, I'll even take your check if you look nice.
100 psi minimum every tire, every day.
There's Jim the Dick Phillips.